Welcome to Blake Street Banter, where one of us knows what the word banter means, and the other two are just along for the ride. Tyler, say what's up.
What is up?
And we are joined by Rockies prospect, Spokane Indians starting pitcher, Jarrod Cande, the Candy Man. What up, big
What's
dog?
going on? What's going on?
So, how much fun do you have when you hear your nickname, Candy Man?
Honestly, it's a name I've had since I played football when I was a kid. I got it one practice. I'm surprised I even remember this. I want to say I was like 8 or 9, and then I ran for like a 40-yard touchdown. And it's like, oh, the Candy Man, blah blah blah. I ended up sticking for the rest of my life. So every time I hear it, it kind of brings like that little kid out of me.
Yeah,
So I love it. I love it.
I love that. Is awesome. Yeah, I was watching the Hillsborough Hops game or broadcast when your last start, and then they introduced you as Jarrod the Candy Man, Candy, as you were getting ready to go. I'm just like, it's just a fun nickname. I love it.
Yeah, no, it's awesome because I actually got called that my whole life, like I said. And then one of my teammates, actually Tyler Ahern,
Okay.
he goes, he was talking about Instagram and stuff like that, and he goes, "Why don't you do that as a header?" So credit to Tyler Ahern. That's why my name is what it is on Instagram.
He'll have a second life as a PR marketing guy
Yeah,
after
Ahern
this.
the marketing man.
There we go. Ahern
Absolutely.
the marketer. Uh, and then I have to ask. I feel like I have to ask. It's probably a stupid question. What is your favorite candy? Do you even eat candy?
Man, to be honest, I really don't, but every now and again I could go for some chocolate. I'm a real big Reese's Puffs and Kit Kat guy for sure.
Yes, yes.
That's where it's
Reese's.
at,
You
Kit
can't
Kat.
go wrong with Reese's.
Not at
No.
all.
And they almost have like a combination of the Reese's and the Kit Kat stuff right now. They have the big cup with the crunchies in it. It's a good
Yeah,
one.
no, I haven't tried it yet, but
Yeah.
I'm trying to keep it under wraps, but we'll see.
Yeah, you are better than I. We won't get into that piece there. But let's start at the beginning, man. So did some research on you, went to Florida Southern. It's a D2 school out in Lakeland, Florida. I understand that's kind of where you grew up, right? In
I
that
grew up in
area?
Tampa.
Tampa.
Like,
Okay.
so yeah, so I mean, it's like 30 minutes away from Tampa, so I
Okay.
might as well grown up there. My grandma lives in Lakeland, so I've been to Lakeland countless times.
Okay. So that's where you were, the Florida Southern. But I have to ask, there was a kind of a window in the baseball reference page. I think I figured it out, but I want to see if I'm wrong. Did you play NAIA before hitting up Florida Southern?
No, I played JUCO.
JUCO. Okay. I couldn't figure out Santa Fe Saints, right?
Yeah, Santa Fe Saints.
All
Yes,
right.
sir.
So how did you end up at Santa Fe for those 2 years, I believe, 2018, 2019? Like what was that JUCO route like? We don't talk to a lot of guys that go JUCO and then D2 and then here you are sitting professional baseball. So like how did that route kind of happen for you?
So when I was in high school, junior year happened. It's like peak time for recruitment. It was when guys start getting their name out there and stuff like that. And um, I just played a lot of tournaments and stuff. Really didn't get my name called. I didn't. I got a few looks from like a few colleges out of state, but I just, I was living up to the D1 or bust situation,
Yeah.
as every kid is. But then I came into my senior year, last tournament of the fall. It was like by chance almost. And it's funny because I talked to the guy who recruited me at Santa Fe a few times after that, and he goes, "Man, I found you by chance." I'm like, "You mean you found me by chance?"
Right?
He goes, "I was actually there to look at another kid playing on one of the other fields, right?" And sure enough, I'm on the mound and I run it up to 92 that day. Throwing pretty well, get a few strikeouts, and then I come up to the plate. I hit a double off the wall, and then I guess I played good in the right time, in front of the right people, and then I ended up going on a visit. I want to say 4 days after that when I got back home, and that's where that all started. Found me by chance.
Which is absolutely insane because you just said you were throwing 92 as a
Yeah,
18
that's
year old
wild.
17, 18-year old. Yeah, your
17.
junior year, 17 years old, and you're not getting any looks. That's insane. That blows my mind because I'm thinking when I was 17, 18, Western Nebraska, I was playing Legion ball, and we were lucky if we ever faced anybody that was throwing 85 or anything. Like we
Mm-hmm.
never saw that. We had one guy on our team go D1. We had a few other guys go D2. Um, but like piping 92, I just feel like would automatically get you a look from a D2, D3 somewhere. So that's
Yeah.
insane. And I'm
Well,
sure
and I know
topping it off with that double didn't hurt either.
out here
Oh
in
no, not at all.
Colorado, like the top prospects here in Colorado in high school, like if you see a 90 on a gun, you're like, oh, like that kid might, like he has a future. So 92 as a junior, like yeah, that's wild to hear. But I guess Florida is a whole different beast. Like
Oh
you
yeah,
just have
dude.
so many down in Florida.
Florida's just a different ball game, man. Like where I thought I did good. Like my senior year, I want to say I hit 450 with 4 home runs, and then I topped 93 that year. And then I went to Santa Fe. Funny enough, I barely pitched,
Mm-hmm.
and I was more of a hitter. And then my velo jumped my only like 2 miles an hour, but we played Florida for like our scout day. So I went out there, I threw, and I mean, just thinking I'm a real big adrenaline guy. So I'm like, oh, it's just adrenaline. Velo's up that day, whatever. All that happens. And then sure enough, down the road, 97, 98 comes out. I'm like, I don't know where this came from.
It's surprising yourself too. That's insane. That's awesome. And so so then obviously you're throwing hard, but then how did you find your groove, your arsenal, especially at Santa Fe? Because I'm assuming you were a two-way player at Santa Fe because you were a little bit at Florida Southern. Like how were you finding your pitching groove? Because I mean that's where you are now. Like how did that kind of come about?
Man, just always keeping an open mind, not being so close-minded because I wanted to be a hitter. Every guy wants to be a hitter. Everybody wants to play shortstop, play outfield, be the guy that hits 30 home runs. You know, at the end of COVID, at the end of the day, all I wanted to do was play baseball.
In any way.
So as that kept going, I just kept learning from different guys. I talked to a few of the guys I work out with, a few of the big league guys I work out with, talk to them about pitching arsenal, sequencing, different, even down to just pitch grips, and then I just kept my nose down and I just kept grinding, no matter how bad the season got. Because I got to Florida Southern. I had an okay season. I had like a 4 ERA inflated. That's right after COVID. So everybody's still there. All the older guys, experience. So, but as I got through college, I was just like a fastball curveball guy. Or no, fastball changeup guy. Didn't really know how to throw a slider. My curveball would land 10% of the time. It was awful. I'm surprised I didn't get hit as much as I did, But now, like talking to, different professional players, different coaches, stuff like that, I'm asking viewpoints on that. So me going down the road, I've learned that I need to stop being a thrower and actually be a pitcher. Mm-hmm. Understand guys' swings, read that, study before the game. I've never done that. Never done that before. Looking at scouting reports. So, it was all new to me, but now I've kind of come to the conclusion that, okay, my main goal is to just go out here, compete, put up zeros, and whatever happens after that, it's out of my control. Mm-hmm. So that's where I am right now. That's how I got there.
Do you think you're able to pinpoint the moment? Like it might have been going into a season that you just realized like, all right, I'm kind of pitcher only at this point. Cause I know at Florida Southern, you didn't take as many ABs and all that. It's like, when did you figure out you were just going to focus on pitching? And since you're still kind of new to being a pitcher only, do you feel like there's a little bit more like under the surface that you're still really unlocking? I know you just talked about figuring out sequencing still and a lot of the little details of pitching. So how much is left in the tank to really develop?
I feel like there's a lot left in the tank. I feel like there's a lot more that comes to delivery, recovery, preparation. I've been better about my preparation and recovery this year. So after day 3, I'm feeling fantastic. I'm feeling good, but leading up to all that, the day where it changed, we just got back from COVID. So this is January. They didn't let us on all fall. So we come back spring at Florida Southern and they're like, hey, you're going to be opening day guy. I'm like, all right, sounds good. Like, you're still going to hit. I was like, all right, yeah, no, that's fine. They're like, hey, on your first outing, you're going to be on a pitch limit. All right. I go out there, go five perfect innings, 75 pitches, 12 punch outs. So after that, I was like, I kind of have a feeling something's going to happen tomorrow. Show up the next day to hit BP, not on the BP card. After that, it was like, hey, man, we think this is the best choice for your career. I go, I agree. I just want to play baseball at this point.
Right. Yeah, going 5 of 12 punchies. Like, yeah, I think we figured it out, Jarrod. I think you're gonna be a pitcher. Sorry if you wanted to go roam the outfield a little bit. That's interesting because we talked to Shelby Lackey. He had a very similar story. He was recruited to Pacific to play shortstop. And like within like the first few months, I think he was already in the bullpen throwing, and he became a pitcher that way because the coaches were like, "All right, what do you want to do? Do you want to? We can't really find the time for you to play out there in the field, but what you can kind of throw. So let's put you on the mound." And Shelby's like, I just want to play baseball and put me in whatever way you can put me on that field. That's what I want to do. And that's how Shelby became a relief pitcher, and he's finding his groove here now with the Rocky system too. So it's just kind of that moment whenever it just like hits, like you guys just kind of like, yeah, this is the route I want to go because that's what I need to do in a way, right? You want to play, but you kind of need to play, and this is how you get to that point.
Yep, absolutely.
So that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. What is it like playing D2 ball? So I'm surrounded, and I'm in Grand Rapids, Michigan. So I have like 2 or 3 D2 programs, a lot of NAIA. I have a JUCO around here. What would you say is kind of like the toughest part about D2? And I'm also in education, so I see a lot of kids like D1 or bust. I see that with my football players that I teach. I also have some baseball players that are kind of on that realm. So like, what can you tell me to tell them? Like, yo, it's okay if you don't go D1.
Man, like if you're good, they'll find you. If you're performing, they'll find you. You know, you're putting up numbers you got to put up in a certain league. Because I was in the Sun Conference. I can't remember exactly what conference it was, but the conference that we were in, we played against Nova Southeastern, Barry University, and then we played against a lot of other D2 schools in the area. University of Tampa. They became national championships recently. But I tell kids all the time, I'm like, don't be scared to go JUCO. I've seen better talent in JUCO in Division II than I have at D1, and that's just the truth. I remember in the state tournament my freshman year, mind you, I've seen 90 all year. First time I see 97 from the left side. I'm like, oh, I haven't seen this before, you know. But
Yeah.
And then I go watch D1 ball. You only see that in like your big Power 5 schools, you know. But I tell kids all the time, I'm like, if they're good, they'll find you. They'll find you.
Right. Whether it's in high school or at that JUCO or whatever step you have to take.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love that. That's good. Definitely passing that along there. Do you miss hitting at all? Because I mean, you had those 11 dongs playing in the summer league with Sanford. Like, there's got to be something that you got an itch to hit the bombs. I know you do.
Oh man, I'm not gonna lie. And whenever we're hitting BP, I am like, dang man, I wish I could just take one round of BP. I just want one round of five, you know. But during the off season, I go back. I mean, I have some fun, man. I go play golf. I go bowling, and then I'll go to my brother's high school practice, and they'll let me take some swings. I'm just like, all right,
There you go.
you know. I mean, obviously, I'll stretch, roll out, and make sure I'm moving around first before I just pick up the bat and swing and hurt myself. But I mean, I take a few swings just to keep it fun, keep things interesting. I feel like a lot of guys get out of that athletic part, you know, when they were like 2As and stuff like that. So I think they should keep swinging just to keep that rotation or just to keep having fun, keep it interesting.
Right. Do you ever feel like there's a little bit monotony to your routine? Like, as you kind of were saying, you're finding this routine, this professional routine, doing scouting reports before games, like adding to that. And I know baseball players are very schedule oriented. Do you find any monotony to it? How do you switch that up? How do you kind of go through that grind, as so to speak?
Yeah, man. Just trying out different stuff early on. When I first got to Fresno last year, you know, being a starter, I was like, okay, I have a good idea of my, you know, pre-throwing routine. But afterwards, I wouldn't do anything. I would do ice maybe. That's about it. You know, I wouldn't go through certain movements. I wouldn't make sure like I'm sleeping right. So like last year, it just kept thinking. So I just think just plugging in different stuff, seeing what works for you, then taking out what you don't like, and then you have what works for you, and you have the discipline to keep doing it every day, no matter you get up tired or you get up you're sore. you're still going through that routine because in order for you to throw, in order for you to move like the way you want to, you have to have that routine.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, me right now, I have a routine that works for me that I'm going to keep going to the end of the year, but I have plugged in something, like tried it, and I'm like, really don't like it. Or I'll plug in something, try it for like 2 weeks. I'm like, really don't like it. Not a fan, but finding what works for you and not just going like, oh, this is Kershaw's program. I'm going to take Kershaw's program and I'm going to do that. Like that works for Kershaw. It's not a set fact that it's going to work for you.
Right. Yeah. Picking and choosing and kind of experimenting with that piece there. Yeah. That makes sense. Cause I'm trying to find that groove right now. It's hard. Like it's hard.
Yeah,
like I got it. I can do this. And then there might be a hiccup on it. Then you get off that groove. And then it's like, no, I got to get back to that. Cause even like, obviously I'm not an athlete or any of that. I'm just a normal adult, which I have my responsibilities. And if I mess up like one of those little small routines, whether it's like going to bed at 10 instead of 10:30, it messes up my entire morning because I know those kids are going to wake up at 6 o'clock and they're going to need me 100%. But that 30 minutes is just kind of going to mess with whatever it is. So I can only imagine what it is as an athlete, as you're trying to keep your body at top tier performance and then trying to figure that all out. It's got to be a thing. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
So
go ahead.
And you're just turning the page a little bit in your college career. You got to play with first at Florida Southern. You played with Vaun Brown, who that dude's blown up now. Like, is that someone that you knew when you were playing with him? Like, this guy's flying way under the radar. Like, he was a 10th round pick, but right now MLB.com has him as the Giants' #5 prospect, which is pretty crazy. So, is that something you just knew was going to happen?
Man, it's funny you asked that because a few guys asked me that. They go, man, what do you think of Vaun Brown? Like, he a big prospect? I go, dude, like, when I first got to Florida Southern, I'm not gonna lie, he was kind of struggling. But man, I don't know if it was just a switch or something. After that, he just took off. The rest of the COVID hit, came back the next year, raked, then got into pro ball, raked. I don't know. Like, I talk to him every once in a while. Like, he's a real down to earth guy. So I talked to him. I was like, hey, man, what you got going on? Like, what are you eating? What you got? I need some of that, He goes, hey, man, everything's just working out in my favor. I'm feeling good, trusting the process. I was like, there you go. Here's the key. Trusting that process.
Well, what does it do for you mentally, knowing that like you were like on the same level as him, and now he's kind of getting on the doorstep of the big leagues? Like, does that give you kind of a confidence boost?
Oh yeah, without a doubt. Because this guy played center field for me. Having him in center field was fantastic. This guy just all over the fence, diving in the outfield. But it gives me confidence, just like, okay, one of my teammates is about to get there. And just knowing how hard of a worker he is, I'm like, okay, I just got to keep my nose down no matter what happens and just keep moving. Just keep moving.
Yeah.
Keep going. I mean, I'm going to ask it and I'm going to put you on the spot. Would you rather have Vaun Brown out there or Braden Ward? He's a friend of the pod, so I had to put his name out there.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's a tough question. That's a tough question, but
yeah, you don't have to answer.
Yeah, that's a tough answer. Like,
yeah,
because I love Ward. I really love what he does out there, the way he hustles, and he knows what to say to me. And whenever I'm kind of struggling during an outing, and so does Vaughn. So it's just like, it's almost like he's the second Vaun Brown for me. Like,
yeah.
he's that guy I could kind of lean on. Like, hey, what you got? Like, what do you think here? Or you think you could have gotten to that ball? He's like, man, I mean, you want me to dive forward and possibly miss it and then have 3 runs go by, or you want me to just knock it down, keep the guys on base because I know you can get a ground ball pop up in the situation. I'm like, you're right. You're right. So he's more or less, I wouldn't say either or. I'm just saying like I got like a double, more or less.
Right. Yeah. You got a good support system behind you. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like when Ward had that game with the 2 home run robberies in one game. I'm just like, what does this guy do? Like, he's like Spider-Man out there and he's fast, wiry. Just, I feel like his go is always 100 at whatever he does.
All the time. And I tell him after he has one of those catches or something like that. I come in, or he comes in. I give him a dap up, and I'm like, never a doubt. He goes, never a doubt.
That's sweet.
That's awesome.
Right.
I mean,
And then also that was a fun topic. So I hate to break it, but you also got to play with Dylan Cruz at Sanford, which that might be one like you're truly telling your grandkids about Dylan Cruz. Like if he does what he can do, what was that like? Because I don't really know what the whole summer league culture is like. Like, are you guys, as teammates, like hanging out, friends? Obviously, you see each other work a good amount of the time, but what was that all like with him?
Oh man, he's one of my boys. Actually, I texted him. I texted him after they won the regional, and I'm like,
Oh,
super regional.
nice.
I
Yeah.
was like, I texted him. I was like, hey man, super regional at the box. He goes, super regional at the box. You know, but no man, playing with him, it was crazy. Because I've heard of Dylan Cruz. I saw him like on the prospect page on Instagram. And at first, I didn't know who he was, and then he showed up to Sanford, and I was just talking to him like he was normal, like he's just a normal baseball player. I didn't know who he was at the point, at the time.
Yeah.
And I was talking to him. He's like, yeah, blah blah blah. And then he goes into the dugout, and one of the guys comes up to me like, "You know who that is?" I go, "It's just Dylan." Like, what? I don't get it, And then they go, "No, bro, it's Dylan Cruz, blah blah blah, perfect game All American." I'm like, "Oh, okay." It's like we'll see that in the summer. In the summer he hits really well, and then he goes to college his freshman year.
just
Boom.
ooh, right?
The guy's crazy, but I love the kid. He's a real down to earth guy. Like I could talk to him. He doesn't have an issue, even if he is at LSU doing all the big things. Supposed to go 1-1,
Yeah.
but he's that's one of the best baseball players I think I've seen in a while. As an 18-year-old going into college,
Yeah.
and then obviously, I mean, he made his point with the 3 years at LSU, but
Ridiculous stuff.
he was one of the best baseball players I've seen play
Yeah.
for sure.
When we got to talk to Nick Bush too, who I forget if their timelines overlapped at LSU or not, but he just said he saw him as an 18-year-old coming in, and he was like, that guy looks like, a seasoned ball player, like physically, mentally, the way he was going about stuff. And like it's good to hear you echo that because it's not surprising when you hear that now and you see
Mhm.
what he's doing on the field. Always great to hear these guys who are, I mean, he could be anyone he wants as a person. He could do anything. No one would bat an eye because he's so good, but like he chooses to like carry himself well. Gotta respect that.
Oh yeah, I respect it 100%. I try to kind of model my attitude around the way he does because no matter how good he does in the game or how bad, he's the same guy off the field, no matter what.
That's awesome to hear, especially from the future, like you said, 1-1 guy. I mean, all that it's got to being able to stay humble. It's huge. It says a lot about the character. That's
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
that's a big piece there. Let's head to Fresno. So Fresno is your first professional season. Most games you've ever pitched in a season. You pitched 19, I think 19 games compared to maybe like 12 or 15 in your college years. So you kind of mentioned it about you didn't really have a routine and that kind of stuff. Was that kind of the biggest wake up call difference between college and professional? Like what was that first season of professional ball like?
oh man. I got there were times where I started off pretty good, where I was feeling really good. I didn't walk many guys, and then it, they just ended up hitting mistake pitches way better than college guys did.
Mm-hmm.
Like I quickly figured out that I can't just go up here and just throw the ball over the plate and just hope for the best. Like, all right, I gotta attack this guy different because his hot in the cold zone. Sorry, hot and cold zones are different from the guy behind him. But instead in pro ball, like 1 through 9 can hit the baseball. College, you have what 1, 3, 4, 5, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just going to pro ball, I quickly learned that okay, all these guys can hit. They're here for a reason. So I quickly have to learn the pitching game and not let the game speed up on me, which I was guilty of last year a lot. Was just letting the game speed up on me. I give up 2 runs, and then after that, it's just like walk, walk, flare base hit, and then there's another run instead of gathering myself and then keep going. It was tough, man. I was frustrated for majority of the season,
Mm-hmm.
pretty frustrated, but I knew that I had to keep going out there and put up as many zeros as possible back there for the guys to come in and do what they have to do. So it was tough. It was
Yeah.
tough for me.
Yeah, I imagine. I'm looking at your game logs from last year. So like you started first few games were 3 innings, 3 innings, 4 innings, 3 innings, 4 innings. Like you didn't allow many runs at that time, but a lot of strikeouts. But then it kind of shows in the middle there, kind of what you were just talking about, the hits and the walks and trying to control all that. And we see it all the time. I was watching Jackson Cox the other night down in Fresno. He got through the first 2 or 3 innings really well, and then that third, fourth inning, he just couldn't find it. Like one hit, two hits, walk, control. And it's just one of those things. Like I think as kind of what you mentioned, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but like that second and third time going through the order, you have to be a little bit better because they are professional hitters, like 1 through 9. They know what you did that first at bat, and they are going to keep that in mind as they're coming through that. Is that true? Is that like something that you really kind of learned because you were finding your groove there? You're finding your group now. Like, is that something you kind of learned as you were going through that season?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I started to figure it out as I went back and watched video during the off season, and then I came back to spring training and I talked to Brian Kibler, and sure enough, that's what we ended up getting on topic about, and we talked about it a few times. And then as the season goes, I literally sit down next to him now during an outing, and I go, okay, we started this guy first two at bats like this. All right, we're gonna start him like this, just so they don't get to the point when they're like, all right, hey guys, he's in a pattern. So now, like say Jackson Cox, right? He's throwing first pitch fastball to just this one guy, right? But he's done it 2 at-bats consecutively. And if the guy that's coming up to hit for his third at-bat, he can more or less be like, okay, he's throwing the first pitch heater. And then he's sitting off first pitch heater and he sees that, he's usually going to make you pay for it, you know, because why are you going to start him a third time off with a fastball? So, like with Melendez, went out through against him, started him off, K'd him on 2 sliders. And then next at bat, couldn't get the ball inside. He's still looking over the plate. Boom. Got him 1-2 though. Boom, slider, backside double. Never fails. Never fails.
And I think that sums what you were kind of saying earlier about not being a thrower, being a pitcher, and you're kind of learning that right now while on the job, which is, I mean, it's what you're all are doing. But I think that gets taken for granted when these casuals, and I would put myself in that, when I look at your box score, I'm like, yo, Cande just gave up 5 runs and 4.2, 7 hits, 3 walks. Like, what is this guy on my squad for? But it's like, you're also learning on the job. Like, you just have numbers attached to it where like I'm learning on the job. Hopefully you don't get to see that. It's just a different vibe, but like there's these numbers attached, and like these traditionalists, like there's this really big disconnect from a fan to, I think, what you're actually working on and these numbers that show it. So like, yeah, obviously you're going to go out there and try to for that sub-3 ERA. Like that's the goal, obviously. And you want those punchies up, but you also, you're running against Ivan Melendez, who is, he's good at what he does too. And you got to be on top of it, and you got to be able to execute like all the time, which again, is it kind of showing from this conversation, you are doing that and you're learning from that. And I don't know. I've seen it just from watching you from Fresno to this year. Like I was able to watch your start the other night. I was like, all right, he's definitely grown. And I will say it now, like I love watching you pitch. Like they say he's got a dog in him. Yo, you are the dog. It's not like you got the dog. I love your tenacity. I love your just like, I'm getting on this mound. This is my mound, and you kind of put that aura, that vibe out there. So it's so much fun to watch you pitch. And now I'm just going to be watching you pitch, but like also think about what you're thinking as you're going through. Like I love this kind of stuff, and I like your willingness to share it is super cool. And I don't know, I always feel like I have to say that to who's ever listening, because I think that gets lost by the casual. Like, yo, these guys are working and they're learning, and you got to get past those box scores. It's so hard.
Exactly, because I mean, if we even go back to my first outing against Everett at our field, I gave up 4 home runs. I could have lost it. I could have gotten pulled, but I still went. What was it, 4 or 5 innings? I don't remember exactly. I got it written down in my notebook.
I got you. 5 innings. Yeah.
Okay, but I went back to go look at the box score, and I'm like, okay, could have pitched this guy a little better. Could have pitched this guy a little better. But I also got a positive out of it. I'm like, okay, I still had 8 strikeouts. So
Yeah.
how many of those home runs were actually like? I'll give a few of the home runs. Harry Ford, really good hitter. Um, and then Clase, he went off early on. He had 9 home runs or 6 home runs, something like that. He had 3 against us, and he hit a fastball up and in out of the park. Like, okay, you got that one. Then next at bat, threw a changeup down in the dirt. Somehow golfed it out of the park. Okay. Well,
Right.
sometimes you just gotta tip your hat, because
Right.
hitters can be good when they want to.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just insane looking at it. And I'm looking at your pitch numbers, and this is kind of what I was trying to get to. Like, you are the dog. Like, you're trying to go 80 plus every time. Like, you have only had one outing this year that's gone 74. Everything else has been 80 or more. Like, you're grinding, you're trying to get through those innings for your team every single time. And it shows. And I'm sure you know it. I'm sure you hear it. Don't think you need to hear it from me, but like I see you grinding. Like, we see Kyle Freeland for the Rockies. He's that guy. He's like, I'm going to go 6 no matter what. And if I'm struggling in the second or third, I'm going to find some kind of way to get to that 6th inning. And I get that vibe from you when you're out there on that mound, and kind of like what you're saying, like, all right, he's going to take it up and in. So I'm going to go low away, change. You're doing what you can to adjust and be better each time.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Making adjustments. And me going that deep, I just think about our bullpen. And I mean, our bullpen's been struggling as of late, and I know some of them are kind of taxed. So I just think if I go at least 6, it's kind of it's a sigh of relief. Like, okay, now we can just throw 2 guys instead of 4 guys, and then have more guys available for the next day or later in the week.
Yeah.
That's like my main thing. If I know like my bullpen is they're going to be fresh, they're going to be good, ready to go, and they know that they have 3 innings left to get ready, all good by me.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Absolutely.
Well, so where are you at right now with your arsenal and your stuff? Like, what are you currently feeling just really good about? Just you want to remember everything, muscle, mental of repeating that. And then what are the things that you are in the process of working on? Kind of what Aaron's saying, that you're out there on the hill and you're trying to get to the next level with something. And so what is that right now? Or what are some of those things?
Oh, well, I mean, something that's been working for me pretty good is just my whole delivery, just starting with my lower half. And my lower half's been more consistent. I've been able to, and not really think about the upper half. Because when I think about the upper half, I'm the type of guy where I just get really pulley and then everything's just all over the place. But what a big cue for me is just stay grounded, right? Just make sure I'm here, I'm present. And I've always had this thing, and I'm not sure if you've seen it on the streams but I've always, when I get the ball back after a pitch, I'm looking, take off my hat, have a few Bible verses written, take that, put it on my head, find a focal point out there. I'm like, all right, stay grounded, go compete. So that's what's been working for me, and to keep my arsenal, keep it thing, and not really overthink it and try to overthrow my slider, curveball, changeup. Just really trusting what I have and just letting it go.
Yeah.
So it's like, that's always been the big thing for me. Is just stay grounded, and that's what's helped me this year. Like I said, just stay grounded, go out there and compete. Everything will work out. It's in God's hands.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that. Like, just it's kind of a whole metaphor. Like, physically stay grounded. Like, your legs are probably the most important part of any delivery, but also like, and you've been talking about it a lot, like staying within yourself on the mound and finding those ways to stay grounded. Like, you got to do it physically and mentally. And I think that a lot of guys have one or the other, and it's really great to be focusing on both.
Oh yeah, because I mean, I think once you get out of that, like, all staying grounded, and you're letting other factors like that one blue hit, like a late game, you're gonna let that affect you. You're like, oh my God, now I'm pissed. Now your command's everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Now you end up walking a few guys. Now the bases are loaded when you could have been like, all right, let's get a ground ball here. Boom. ground ball, double play, out of the inning. Doesn't even affect you.
Right.
You know,
When did you kind of find that? When did you kind of figure that out?
dude. I'd be lying to you if I said it wasn't this year, but it's this year.
Yeah.
Honestly, because I knew last year I had a big thing on letting the innings speed up on me. Then I'd give up a hit, walk a few guys, then get a couple outs, then they'll score a few runs. But this year, I'm just like, all right, a few blue base hits. All right. As long as I know I hit my spot and I executed the pitch, I know how I wanted to execute it. A broken bat single that scores a run, a little blue hit. There's nothing I can do about that. Once it leaves my hand, it's out of my control.
Right.
It's out of my control.
Right. Do what you can do and just kind of go with it and keep doing what you can do. I love that mentality. It has to be there. Because I mean, like we saw Gabriel Hughes. I mean, fantastic pitcher, but again, going back to his box score, he's just like, dude, man has like a 6+ ERA or 5+ ERA. What is this? But you can literally pinpoint some of those innings, and watching some of those innings, like a bloop single, weak ground ball that easily could have like stopped 2 or 3 runs from scoring. Yet here we are extending the inning, and then he gives up a bomb with right after that. It's just like again, you're executing, you're doing what you can, like you are pitching really well. Then that box score isn't telling that story of that bloop single that wasn't hit very well, just luck. But again, that's baseball, right? Like you get it on on the mound there, and the hitters get sometimes with the stick, but like it's just one of those things that you have to stay grounded. Again, watching as a fan, you have to stay grounded, let alone like going out there and executing on the mound. You have to keep within yourself, and that it's huge. It's huge.
Oh yeah.
So Florida kid, you got to hang out in Fresno last year. It's hot. Florida hot. Now you're up in the Northwest for April and May. Ever again?
Oh man, I don't know, man. I can't. Like people told me it was going to be cold, but no one told me it was going to be this cold.
Right?
I didn't see snow until the first time, like very first off season. That was the first time I saw snow. So I drove up here. Ward's actually my roommate, and drove up here with Ward, and I saw the most snow I've ever seen in my life, ever. And
right?
I'm like, man, wow, this is cool. Step out of the car. I'm like, okay. I'm like, unprepared for this. I ordered
Not cool.
4 Under Armour thermal shirts. I ordered some leggings. Make sure I have those at the field. I ordered 4 more jackets. I was hurting over here. I was hurting.
It's definitely an adjustment. that weather, and it's just rainy like the entire. This right now is just always rainy. Like you're finally getting to the good weather, decent weather at least.
Oh yeah, it feels amazing outside now.
Right, it's all good. I'm always curious of how guys from the heat deal with the north. It's definitely just a different ball game.
We're different.
Yeah. I mean, you said Ward is your roommate. How much Taylor Swift have you gotten in?
Oh man, it's a nonstop thing. Nonstop thing at all. You know, he just in the car, him getting in the shower, I'll hear his phone when I'm sitting out here on the couch. I'm like, oh, there he goes. You know, but
T-swizzle.
I don't mind it. I don't mind it. It's cool.
That's funny. And then last Ward question. Have you gone fly fishing with him? Have you gotten out there on the boat? Have you gone fishing yet with him?
No, we're supposed to go this All-Star break. So
okay.
I got on the boat with him actually because we stopped in Montana to fish a little bit while it was still cold. Never doing that again. Nope.
Because of the cold fishing, or because Ward's on the boat with you?
A little bit of both. No, but it was just it got to the point where he had to bring in the line and like crack the ice on the pilots of the pole. I'm like, yeah, no, bro, I'm good.
Yep.
Nope. So I'll come back when it's peak season, nice and warm. We can get something rolling, but not that cold again. That was awful.
Not doing the ice fishing piece there. That's fair. And then we're on the friendship relationship. How did your relationship with Jaden Hill kind of form? Like I remember seeing you guys down in Fresno. You guys you're charting games all the time together. It's usually behind home plate, which is pretty cool. But like, what's that relationship like for you, and how did that kind of grow and come about?
Oh man, because I knew who Jaden was just talking to Dylan, And when we got drafted and stuff like that, I'm just the type of guy where if I'm in the locker room, man, I just want to talk to everybody, go around and do all that stuff. But I talked to Jaden and we talked about LSU and stuff like that, how that was, and then he's real into shoes, and so am I. So we kind of talk about that a lot. But as the days went on, like we ended up just getting closer. We hung out a few times outside of the field. We talk about baseball. We'll talk about shoes. Like lately, we've been talking about outings and stuff like that, going over stuff, and it's been pretty cool, man. Like he's a great human. He's a really great human. You know, I really respect that about him. Like the stuff he's done at home for kids and the stuff that he plans on doing. Like because we talk about like future plans and stuff like that, and he has a lot of stuff planned and he knows exactly how it's going to lay out, exactly what he wants to do and how he's going to go about it. So I respect every part of that man. You know, really great human. And he may be struggling right now, but he'll figure it out. He'll be good.
Monia, how are you trying to support him, whether just as a friend or as like a pitching teammate? How are you? Because we all know, you know, the talent level with him is crazy. How are you trying to support him and get him back to his groove?
Oh man, I honestly just try and talk to him to a point where he kind of brings it out, you know, like where I just go, hey man, what you got? Or we'll talk and I'll end up talking about pitching and then we'll end up getting on the subject of an outing, you know, because I don't like to be the guy where, you know, I just come up and like, hey, what'd you do wrong yesterday? You know, I'm like,
yeah, that's weird energy.
buddy. Like if I would have known that, I would have fixed it, you know. But I just try and go up and just have a normal conversation with him, you know, because I know how it gets, like, and how he thinks is kind of similar to how I think.
Okay.
And I'm just trying to get him to just realize like why he got here and how he's here, like realize who he is, you know. And he's on the same page I am. He's learning, like still trying to figure this out, you know. So I'm just trying to get him to the point where I'm just like, bro, you just got to go out there and have fun, bro. At the end of the day,
Mm-hmm.
you know, like we all know, you know, changeup's nasty, fastball's electric, sliders gross. Like you don't have to prove anything to us. Go out there and play, bro. Have some fun, have a blast,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And I mean, it's been rough, but I think he'll figure it out, man.
Yeah,
love that kid to death.
Yeah, there's no way he doesn't figure it out. His stuff is like your stuff is nasty. Like his stuff is like, oh shit, he just did that. Like, how does he make that
freaky stuff?
It's insane. All right, we won't take too much of your time. We always like to finish this up with some fun questions. We're kind of leaning that way. You mentioned it, and we had it on our rundown here. Your Santa Fe Saints bio said you like to collect sneakers, and you're talking about it now. So just showing you that we do our deep dive on our end here. But so what is your favorite shoe right now? And what is one of ones that like you haven't gotten yet, like the holy grail, so to speak? Because I'm also trying to in my midlife crisis right now. I'm kind of getting into the shoe game right now too. I got some Pandas got some Pandas upstairs. I got the Dark Iris 3s that I enjoy.
Ooh, okay.
I really and I just got the pair of the black and white Terminators, which like are low key, like they're good. Like I like those.
Yeah.
And I have my eye on a few other ones, but we're talking about you.
Okay.
What's your favorite and what's the holy grail or the next kit, so to speak? I know.
My favorite pair right now has to be my dark mocha Jordan 1s. Love that shoe. I try to wear it any chance I can.
Mm-hmm.
But the shoe that I want the most and that I've always wanted, I want the Jordan 1 Fragment Travis Scott's, the highs.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah. When are you in the thinking about some Jordan 1 cleats? Like we've seen a lot more guys with the Jordan 1 cleats. I don't know how the hookup for that comes around, because that's got to be custom, but those are like the coolest thing I've ever seen.
Oh yeah, because sure enough, I wasn't even thinking about the cleats until I looked at Jaden's locker and he has a custom pair of Jordan 1 cleats.
Oh,
so I'm like, okay, I'm jealous. I need to figure out where I can get some of those, you know? So I was like, I've just been looking and I want to pull the trigger, but I don't want to spend the money yet. So I don't know, man. In the future, yeah, they're there. They're there. I want some so bad.
Yeah, it's I, I gotta imagine like there is some jealousy there. Like I saw, I mean, I'm sure you saw Zach Bean's future game all-star customs from last year. Those are
Yes.
nasty. I see Peterson for the goats. He's got, it looks like a high top Nike cleat going. Uh, but they just stand out and they're clean. They're
Oh
clean.
yeah. You can't beat a nice Jordan 1 on a baseball field.
No.
I don't know. I've been seeing it more and more
Yeah.
whenever I watch the show, like Tatis when he came back. That's all he's
Yeah.
been wearing. It's just Jordan 1s. I'm like, okay, I need to get on his level.
Right. Let's up that swag a little bit.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, do you got him? So you're a golfer. At least you said you golf, I guess. Do you, what's
Tad.
that? What's your game like?
Ah, brutal. Brutal.
Same.
So it was funny because I went to go play golf during the off season, and I was like, all right, we'll give this a shot. Been swinging the clubs for like a couple months now. We'll see how this goes. I shot like a one something. Like, I don't know, really high. I shot like a 110, something like that. And I go, you know what? Bowling sounds a little better, so I'll just stick to bowling in the off season. So golfing, it's on the come up. I'm still working towards that because you know me. I want to go out there and compete. I want to win. So it's like I don't want to go out there and just suck it up. I want to try and put in the best effort.
Right. And
on a
golf.
on a scale from 1 to Mookie Betts, where are you at as a bowler right now?
Ooh, you know what, man? I'm not Mookie Betts. Wish I was. Let's see.
I think we all would.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna
He's
go.
smooth.
I'm gonna go solid 6. I want to say I
Okay.
average 190 to 205. So
Oh.
I want to say like a 5 or 6.
All
Right
right.
there.
Wait, what is your peak? Like how
I
have
mean,
you ever
that's my
had in your
10.
mind even that you're like, oh, I could this could be the one. Like I might hit like 300 years. I mean, that's kind of
Oh
maybe unrealistic right now, but how close have you
no!
been?
Funny enough, I actually came close. I was bowling 2 off seasons ago, and I was bowling with my friends, and I want to say I had 6 strikes in a row, and then I spared 9-pin frame, and then strike, spare. I finished with like a 255, maybe a little higher than that. So I
Yeah.
was a few frames off, man. I was close. It was close. Ever since then, I haven't been able to get back.
Right. Is there a kind of like a no hitter, so to speak, where you don't talk about it if it's happening? Like when you're on that fifth strike, fourth strike, fifth strike, were we thinking it? Were we speaking it?
Oh, to be honest, man, I was just having fun,
Yeah.
and then my friend just happens to open his mouth and goes, "Dang, bro, 6 in a row? That's crazy." And then walks away. I'm like, dude. Sure enough,
Didn't understand the
9 pins.
rules.
I'm like,
Yeah. So all right. So we
my
just proved that you don't talk about a perfect game, even in bowling either.
Yeah.
No, keep the mouth sealed. All right. Last question. My favorite question. And you get to be completely selfish when you answer this. Favorite all-time baseball moment for you? Like when you just did your thing. Like Grant Levine told us he hit the grand slam of home runs. We had a solo shot, double shot, 3-shot, and then the grand slam itself. Um, there's a few other good ones in there. Drawing a blank, but completely selfish. Favorite baseball moment for you?
favorite baseball moment for me. Oh, we were playing in regional semifinal. I want to say my junior year. I was in high school, but I was in center. We were playing at Winter Haven, really good program. I run for a ball in the gap, in right center gap. I go to catch it. I kind of like overextend a little bit, grab it, and I don't turn fully. This guy's literally on second. He's tagging. I'm mind you, I'm like 250 feet out, so I'm pretty deep in the outfield. I turn and throw and laser beam the third about 6 feet off the ground, and I hosed him by like 4 or 5 feet. That was the best. That has to hands down be the best moment because I just caught it, turned, boom, not even thinking about it, and it was just on the line.
Yeah,
for me, that was like peak for me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just living vicariously through that moment. Like I could just imagine like being the coach on that. Like, oh my god, that just I'm sure everything just went nuts. That's sweet. Like a
I mean,
good outfield
assists
assist, right?
Underrated, very underrated.
Oh yeah, I loved playing the outfield. I may have ran into too many walls, but it is what it is.
I mean, if you don't, you're not doing it right.
Yeah.
Oh, exactly.
Jarrod, this was fun. Thank you for hanging out with us. Definitely rooting for you. You're now one of our guys, so we got you whenever we can, and we'll definitely have to roll this again sometime soon.
Yeah, man. Thank you. I had a lot of fun.
This was good.
Yeah, this was a blast.
I appreciate it. Keep grinding, man.
Alrighty. Thank you, guys.
Thank you for watching and listening. Please check out our link tree for more content.